Welcome to another episode of the Carlito Monroe Show. I am your host, Carlito Monroe. And before we get started, as always, I like to uh, give a shout out to the truckers because without them, we wouldn't have the things we need. They're working day and night while we're at home sleeping. So I'm always going to give those truckers a shout out. I appreciate them. Somebody's got to do the job. I feel like they're underpaid, but that's how it goes. So shout out to my truck drivers first off. And I got my information at the bottom here. It's on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Help the algorithm, help people watch the show. Whether you like it or not, just like anyway. It doesn't cost a dime to like. So hit that notification bell also. Subscribe when I upload new content. You'll be the first to know. Be able to come check it out. The Instagram, follow the show. Because I want to get to a point where I'm doing a call-in show or maybe a Zoom show or something. And I'll try to get a hold to the people that's following me there on Instagram. And then also the Cash App, whatever you want to donate, it's fine. $1, $2, it doesn't matter. But what I want to talk about today was the whole Diddy and Mase situation where they haven't really been going back and forth, but for years, Mase has always said that, Diddy's robbing him. And then there's been other artists saying that, they signed a bad boy, that they was robbing us. He wasn't paying us what he should have been paying us, or whatever the case. So I think most recently, Diddy was on the Breakfast Club and, he wanted to talk about it, and he's saying, putting smut on his name, saying he's robbed. He's never robbed anybody. He's just, he's giving them opportunity. And I agree with him to a certain extent. But he didn't lie. He didn't lie. He owns a label, and it's a business, and he's in the business of doing business. He's not there to pay people what they're necessarily worth or what they feel like they're worth. He pays what they agree to be paid. I'm sure Mase signed this contract along with other artists, and a lot of those contracts, you don't own your masters. If you barely own your publishing, if you own it, it's very little. There's a lot of stories about how different artists got robbed. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen the New Edition movie that they did. I don't know who had it, but they did a whole millions of dollar tour and got dropped back off in the projects. They didn't have money. I mean, the TLC stories, it's oddly familiar where they didn't make money and they were quote unquote getting robbed. I mean, you hear this about groups and artists all the time, how they didn't make money and how they didn't do this and how they should have made this and should have made that. And I think with Mase, it's just the same old story. They say the music industry is a dirty game, and I don't know if it's necessarily dirty, but I think it's just set up where you're only going to make so much money, and the label itself is going to make more money. It was a rule of thumb. I can't remember what rapper said it. I don't know if it was like Dame Dash. Well, he's not a rapper, but I don't know if it was Dame Dash or somebody that's around the music industry. They said that never sign to a label that a rapper owns. And it kind of makes sense because I look at it like this. If I'm a rapper and I have my own label, yeah, I'm going to sign some other artists, but whatever project I'm doing is always going to be priority. Even if this rapper may be a little better than me or more popular than me, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to have that rapper right there with me, helping write my lyrics or coming up with ideas of songs, or I have them on the song also to help make myself stay in the public eye and stay popular. And I think that's pretty much what happened with Mase and Diddy, because around that time, I remember Mase just kind of be in a video, and he wasn't rapping, wasn't doing anything. And it was Biggie videos and Craig Mack and these other artists that Diddy had. And then finally, Mase came out with something. I was like, oh man, they letting the young dude rap. I didn't know who he was. I just knew it was a guy in the videos all the time. And and I think that's just for the most part, because like now he's claiming he wrote all of these hits. He wrote the songs, the hooks. I mean, they had somebody else, that made the beat, but he said he made these hits and he didn't get paid what he should have been getting paid or what he felt he deserved. And he's probably right. He probably deserved a lot if he made those deals. But what he signed is what he signed. I remember buying a book Mark Curry wrote, and he was basically saying Diddy was the devil or whatever. But then when I read the book, I didn't see it like that. I seen it as these are decisions you made. I think it was like one situation where Mark Curry was, his girl just had a baby, and and then he wasn't making any money. He was on his last leg, and then he had a buddy or something that knew somebody, and they had some buddy passes to catch a plane to get to Miami because Diddy was there, and and Mark Curry called himself getting to Miami, and he was going to confront Diddy, but he wasn't going to confront Diddy like, where's my money? He just wanted to show Diddy, hey, I'm here and I'm looking at you. So he was in a car or something, and he saw Diddy, and he said they pulled up beside him. Then he said he looked over at Diddy and was looking at him, and Diddy was like, oh man, yeah, let's head to the studio. And then he fell right back into the same boat he was in before, with Diddy, writing music, hanging out, and not getting paid a dime. Now, this was Mark Curry, not necessarily Mase, but that story is probably strangely odd because Mase probably did a lot of the same thing, but Mase had songs and an album, everything put out. I don't think Mark Curry ever had an album come out. But it seemed like Mark Curry was just mainly blaming Diddy for everything. But meanwhile, you as an adult man, you're grown. You have to decide when you've had enough. When you say, you know what, I'm not gonna keep doing this with this guy. This guy's not any good to me. But that was the closest to fame that Mark Curry had at the time was Diddy was there, and he knew Diddy, and he was allowed to be around Diddy. And if they were eating, then he was able to eat. If they stayed in the hotel, he was able to stay in the hotel, but he wasn't getting any money. He wasn't getting money he can send back to he basically left his girlfriend and the child back in wherever he was living at. It's been a while since I read that book. And by the time in the end of the book, I was just like, Diddy's not the devil. It's just, you made a lot of dumb decisions. You're an adult, a male that has a child that was just born, and you're catching a buddy pass to just get to Miami to be in a guy's presence. And he owes you money according to you, but he never paid him. And you allowed another man to keep doing that to you. I mean, I'm not saying he's supposed to do something to Diddy, but get away from him. I mean, don't continue to let him drain your talent, because like I'm saying Mark Curry now, and whoever's seeing this probably don't remember who that is. The only song I remember, well, the only video and song I remember him ever being in is Bad Boys for Life. And then as that video played, eventually they cut his part off on like Friday night videos or whatever video platform it was showing on at the time. I remember seeing the whole video once, and then after a while they just cut him off because I think he was the last one that rapped, and he was like sitting on a motorcycle or something. And then if you were to look this up on YouTube, it might be somewhere on there, and you would see him like, oh, that's the Mark Curry guy. But nobody really knew him, and he wrote a lot of songs and he did a lot of stuff. And according to him, he didn't get paid at all, according to him. But I mean, imagine just living different places and dealing with stuff. He felt like he, should have been getting paid. But like with Mase, he was saying that he wrote a lot of these hits and he should have been getting more than what he got for it. And then he was basically just still wrapped up in this contract. And because I think, let me see, I think Diddy said that Mase owes $3 million. Owes him $3 million because of some albums, he didn't recoup the money off the sales. Because, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but the music industry, that's how it's set up. In a nutshell, they're approving a loan off the strength of your talent. So say you're a rapper, and at the time you say, "Oh, I want a record deal," and you want a record deal because basically you want to start a business and you don't have any money. So you know how to rap, and you figure you can be a rapper, and you need somebody to give you the money and the know-how to market and push your album or songs or whatever, right? So realistically, you could probably go to a bank and do that, but the bank's not going to give you the money, and that's for sure. But that's what a record label does. They say, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're talented, you rap real good. We're gonna sign you to this deal. And nowadays, from what I understand, it's a lot of 360 deals going on. But I think like the album thing is kind of, dwindling away now. But at the time, they say, well, they sign you to a 360 deal or a regular deal or however deal is set up. So basically, the record label is loaning you money to make an album, and then they're providing you with the studio. They're providing you with the producers to make beats and help with hooks and different things like that. They'll have an A&R or something to help work with you to help make some kind of hit song. So while you're in the studio, and a lot of these guys, they smoking weed, they got women, they drinking, they hanging out, they rapping, and they just having a ball. They're being charged this studio time. The label claims they're being charged, which they are, but they're subtracting it from your budget. Now you may only have a budget of 500,000. Yeah, so 500,000, that's a lot of money. But as far as making an album, it's not. But that may be just your budget to make an album. So a lot of these rappers, they forget about that, and they just they have money. They may have gotten an advance of 100,000 or 200,000, million, whatever. They forget they have to pay taxes on that money. They don't have a financial advisor to tell them what they need to do with the money. First thing they're out buying is the diamond crusted chains and all this stuff. And to be honest, it's my opinion, and I don't know if it's true or not. I think it's probably a third of these guys' diamond chain things are even real. I'm feel comfortable saying about a third. I mean, it may be more, but I don't believe it's real like that. But so they'll blow their money and they'll do all this stuff, and then they're banking on show money. But if they done signed a 360 deal, the show money is not your money now. A big part of that show money is the label's money. You might get something off of it, but that's if you sign a 360 deal. A lot of the artists are signing deals where they get to keep their show money, but you have to pay taxes on your show money also. And a lot of these young guys don't know that. But even if they pay cash, because I'm sure the promoters or whoever's hiring them to do the show is on their book saying, hey, I paid such and such. I mean, I don't know the money for it. I think recently they said the young lady with the kind of reddish fro, she's got the song everybody's talking about, Ice Spice. They said she wants 15,000 to do a show. I mean, she only had one song I know about, but she wants 15,000 to do a show. Now she may get that 15,000 and do whatever with it, but that has to be taxed. And when those promoters and whoever paid her, they put it on their books. Hey, I paid this artist 15,000. Uncle Sam sees that and tracks you down and say, hey, you owe money off of that 15,000. So unless you're still making money, then you end up getting in a big tax debt, like the one rapper, Young Buck. He ended up getting in a bad way. But anyway, but that's pretty much how the record industry, it's a loan. That's how the record industry works. So these artists, they're rappers, you're getting a loan to make your album. If they can't recoup money off your album, you basically owe them that money. But they don't generally sue you to get that money. And I don't know if that's in the contract that they can't sue you, but they don't sue you to get the money. They just hold your masters and they'll hold your contract. Now you can't sign with another label. Because if you're a talented enough rapper, it actually makes sense to just hold your contract and just shelf you. Don't put anything out. You can't do anything other than maybe mixtapes or something that you can't make money from. If you do a show and you're in a 360 deal, you got to pay them. If you're not in a 360 deal, you can still do shows. But I mean, other than that, you can't sign with somebody else. And if you do go sign with somebody else, then they have to work out a deal with the first record label and say, hey, well, I had this contract. Well, give me $2 million. I'll sell this contract. Well, anyway, I remember this happening with Mase to a degree a few years back. He came out with that Welcome Back song. He was back with Bad Boy. He had did his preacher thing for a little bit. Then he came back and he did the Welcome Back. And but too much time had went by. It didn't catch fire, and people wasn't really feeling Mase on the rap thing. And me personally, I feel like, man, Mase is a lyricist that people slept on. I mean, he never really made songs where he really showed his lyrical ability, but you would hear like freestyles or something that he did, and man, I thought he was dope with it. But with the thing, so he comes back, and then that album doesn't sell and doesn't do well, and Diddy lost some more money. So I think around that time, 50 Cent got a hold to him and was like, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get him out the deal, and maybe I can sign him to G Unit. So he gets him and he talks to Diddy, and Diddy's like, well, $2 million, and sell his deal, and you got him. And then 50 Cent, I remember him publicly saying, and you can probably look it up, I remember him saying, Mase is not worth $2 million with $2 million in his pocket. So after that, the 50 Cent Mase thing, you pretty much didn't hear it, and then Mase was just like disappeared. As far as the the public goes, I didn't hear nothing else from him. It'd been a while, and until recently he comes back and he's saying he's got an artist, and then now that artist is claiming that that Mase owes him money. I mean, and that's just how it goes. It's just the record industry, and I'm not even gonna say just the record industry. I'm gonna take that back. It's business. That's how it goes. The company I work for probably makes $1 billion or close to it. I don't make anywhere near that. I feel like I should make way more than what I make. But it's a business. It's not about how you feel. That's not a man trait. It's not about how you feel. It's how it is. It's the deal that you signed up. When I first got the job at work, I wanted the job. And then when I got the job, then the complaints come as time goes on. That's human nature. You always want more. You always feel like you can do better than what you're doing. And you feel like they should be paying you more. You should do this and do that. But that's how it goes. And I think that's the position Mase is in now. Excuse me. I think he still wants his just due, and it's just over. It's over. You're not going to get that. I think at the bare minimum, I think he wants to just be out from under Bad Boy, because he's still technically under contract with Diddy, because Mase can't put out an album. He can't put out an independent album. He can put out a song, but he can't sell it. And I think right now that's what he's trying to do, to be able to get off from under him and then try to put out an album or some songs or whatever, and feel like people will pick it up. And they may. I don't know. The music I listen to is on the radio or download something, so YouTube or something. So it's not. I'm not one of the people that would be a part of that whole program where I would help him, make money by buying an album he may have or whatever. So, I mean, honestly, Diddy could just give him all the stuff back and it wouldn't make much difference. I mean, other than the masters, because he could probably still, make money off of masters. But a lot of that has to do with what song it is and if they can use it in commercials or on movies and stuff. That's where the money is, but you have to have that kind of music that's valued like that. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, and there's a lot of others. They had music that the masters were actually worth something. I don't feel like a rapper's masters are really worth anything. I mean, it's just my opinion. Maybe Jay-Z's, his is worth something, but I don't know. I don't really think they're worth that much. Not any rapper's music, but I mean, I could be wrong. I remember Snoop Dogg saying in an interview that he didn't get paid for the Chronic. He didn't make money off the Chronic, but he's not out here like Mase saying that, hey, Dre owe me money. He owe me money. He just said it in the past. He was like, hey, I wrote the music. I wrote lyrics for Dre. I wrote my lyrics. I did this. I did that. I didn't get paid nothing. And then he, hit the blunt. You know what I mean? But that's Snoop. And he's just like, hey, I understood the assignment. I was a rapper and I wanted the opportunity, and that's what you get paid. So as an artist, yeah, you want to make some money, but opportunity is what you get paid. And that's what Mase got paid, was opportunity. So, if I was to choose a side between Diddy and Mase, I mean, I would have to go with Diddy because it was business and Mase knew the outcome of that. He didn't know it at the time. He was a young guy, but Diddy's running a business. That's how business goes. I mean, ethically, I would have to go with Mase because, why hold a man hostage like that? He's holding his quote unquote career hostage. But hey, man, you still owe the man money. Buy yourself out your contract. I remember Yo Gotti. He was signed to a machine, a major label, and he was just like, he bought himself out the contract, and he paid his own money and got out of the contract, and he's been doing his independent thing ever since. So I mean, that would be my advice for any young rapper, man. I mean, it's whatever money you get, just try to hold on to it. Try to hold on to it. I seen a thing with Lil Baby, and he was going on. He was just like, I didn't know anything about taxes, and then when the tax bill came, I was able to pay it and get right. But that was because he really didn't spend money like that. And that would be good advice for any rapper. Whatever advance you get, throw it in a bank or some kind of mutual funds or some money market account and invest it, and keep some of it, but don't go right out buying the high end cars and diamonds that I don't believe are real. I mean, I believe if I can't think of the guy named Johnny Dang or Chang or something, I don't know, but that makes these diamond chains and stuff for these rappers. He could tell them that they're real and put a big price tag on it, and I believe these guys will buy it. They don't know. They don't know the difference. I mean, I don't know the difference. I just know that's a lot of diamonds to have on a wrist or a pinky ring or something. It's a term. It's called gaudy. It's gaudy. It's just too much. If I had the money, I wouldn't do that. $30,000 for a chain. Come on, man. And then you brag about it in your rap saying, I got a house on my wrist. And realistically, you do have a house on your wrist if you paid that much money. That's money that could have been invested and create financial stability, where once this rap thing is over with, then, because you want to have different sources of income. You don't want to just be sitting here banking on one source of income, because as soon as you lose that source, now you need help. Now, I don't know Mase's financial situation. He still had chains, diamond things on his neck and fancy glasses and hats and different things. So he had a full set of veneers when he went on his little rant about, telling Diddy his mama, the stuff is in his mama's name, So, I mean, he's not broke. I mean, but the recent video I saw, he went on to like a kind of a religious rant thing. And yeah, so I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think Mase just needs to understand the position he's in. And it's always said that you can get more done by talking to somebody than yelling at them or trying to be mean or trying to bully them out of it. You can get more done just being a nice person and having a conversation. So that's what I would say to Mase is, reach out to Diddy, say, hey, can we have a sit down and talk this out, and whatever money you say I owe you, and see if whatever I can work out to try to get this paid, because I want to get off from under Bad Boy. And who's to say Diddy ain't going to do it? Diddy's not making a dime off Mase right now. Or maybe he is. I don't know for a fact, but I feel like he's not making anything off Mase. So I would think Mase to have a sit down with Diddy and see if he can, see if they can work something out. Because I don't think it would be any skin off Diddy's back to say, you know what, here, I ain't going to give you anything. Just, if I were Diddy, what I would do is I would reach out to Mase and say, hey, let's have this sit down. We chop it all up and then publicly show that I'm releasing him from under Bad Boy and he can do whatever he want to do. Because ultimately, I think that's what he wants. Now, I don't know how it works as far as if he signed over his masters, will he owe him, rearage pay or something like that? I mean, I don't know how that works, but I think that's something that could be resolved. But I mean, I think Mase should look at Snoop's situation. If Snoop says something to Dre about Dre owing him money, it's never been publicly. Because I never heard. I mean, he said that Dre owed him, but I've never heard him talk bad about Dre. And Dre, I think Dre's a billionaire. Or he's close to it or something. I mean, he's never. I've never heard anything because I think Snoop just appreciated the opportunity. And I can say, in my opinion, that's what Mase should just appreciate the opportunity because we wouldn't know who Mase is if it wasn't for Diddy. How about that? We wouldn't know who he is. So, yeah, man, I think they should just have a sit down, try to chop it up because I hate to see two men, just, to go back and forth. And, I mean, it's all news and people want to see it, but it's just, we got so much more stuff ahead of us to do than to have little petty arguments and things like that. So, but if you like the show, like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for any updates, and follow the show on Instagram, and hit the Cash App if you like the show. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. That's your boy, Carlito Monroe. Peace.